tough this time of year. I don't think any kid needs a mother.
Could it be that you need someone just as much as Jonah does?
Yes.
Dallas Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks' first movie with Nora Ephron, asked her son, Jacob Bernstein, about his mother's life as a writer. And we're joined now by Jacob Bernstein. Before we can get to you, Richard Barrett over there is actually the guy who draws these amazing cartoon pictures all over the walls of this restaurant. Richard, good to see you.
Richard.
You're actually drawing a portrait there of Nora Ephron. Wow.
Yes.
Fabulous. Jacob, you wrote, good to see you. Jacob, you wrote a very moving piece for the New York Times recently about your mother. And one of the things that really struck me about it, other than just the extraordinary gift she had for writing, was the strength and inspiration she drew from Mike McAleary's early death from cancer, when she herself, as she began to finish this script, knew that she was also dying of cancer. Tell me about that.
Well, I think that she saw him. Obviously, McAleary was not a perfect person. He was a somewhat problematic husband and a somewhat problematic colleague, and perhaps too motivated by money. But he found in the last days of his life, particularly when the Louima story broke, he just went at it whole hog, and he knew he was sick. And I think that she was in a lot of ways in a race to get as much done as she could. You know, I think that happens, and work becomes its own kind of medicine and an escape from illness. But my mother also didn't know she was dying until the end.
Right.
I mean, that is, you know,
She knew she was sick, and she didn't share that really with almost anybody.
Yes.
I mean, did you know, Tom?
Not a clue.
So it must have been a huge shock to everyone.
Yeah, yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Look, this is part of the reason why Nora is one of the most amazing people in the world, because she knew that if she had told us early on in whatever problems she had, the first question everybody would ask her were, "How are you feeling?" And that was just, there's just no way to live. It just puts a cramp on the great adventure, and she didn't want that. And so, no, me and many other people who loved her very much didn't find out until literally 48 hours before.
Tom was, in many ways, your mother's go-to guy for movies, whether it's Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, or this performance now. What was it about Tom, do you think, that your mother loves so much?
well, he's the best, but also he's funny and charming.
Okay, enough of this.
All that.
Yeah.
Never
Great.
mind.
Here's Brosnan.
Let me ask other guys who've watched a lot of this guy's work over the years. What, to you, is the favourite Tom Hanks performance? Peter, let's start with you.
Oh, it's Road to Perdition. It's not possible. It's just, you know, what I felt knowing Tom and going back so long and having done so many silly, ridiculous, somewhat useless things together. And I called him and I said, I don't know how it's possible. And that's one of the most extraordinary things about actors. You know, we can be boneheaded and half dead. And because of a text, nuances, the notes, the rhythms, because of a great director and cast, this extraordinary, ridiculous, there's no business like show business thing. At the core of that is something really poetic and extraordinary, and it's what an actor can accomplish that's greater than themselves.
Courtney, your favourite?
Are we going to go through them all now?
Yes, we are. So sit there and just listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Perdition, but for a different reason. There was that scene where his older son sits down and asks him, you know, why don't you like me? And
We share that because of your scene in Fences.
it tore me apart. It absolutely tore me. And what tore me apart was the fact that Tom, after he said, okay, and he got up and left, he went right back to his work. It tore me apart.
Hernandez directed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Krista?
As a big fan I am of Perdition, I'm going to have to say Philadelphia. I absolutely love the movie. I loved his performance. He just transformed himself to a very sick AIDS patient who basically died from it, and it was the only time in my life I have written a fan letter. And I wrote it to Tom, who I didn't know. I just said, hey, you know, you sir, make us all, that we're not ripping apart hotel rooms to get attention or anything. We're just doing great work, and you're a family man, and I love you for that. And he wrote me back, and I was like, wow.
What did he say?
He said, you, sir, are a groove. I still have it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Larry Crown? Nobody?
No, not Larry Crown.
Larry Crown.
Nobody at all.
Ah, you bastards.
What's the one?
Say that on CNN?
If I said to you, you've got 3 hours left to live.
Oh.
Not that you have,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what's the movie you'd make again?
If I had 3 hours to live, I would not be making a movie, sir.
That's the only option you...
Oh, that's the only option. Look, I would have to say, I would probably say Apollo 13.
Really?
Yeah, you develop an ensemble and it sticks for 3 or 4 months. But Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, and I, in that little cold capsule, talking to Ronnie Howard on our radio, that was about as pleasant a time as I could imagine.
When we come back, why one of Tom Hanks' favourite movies doesn't star Tom Hanks?